If you're building AI voice agents right now, receptionists, sales bots, booking assistants, whatever it is, and your prompt is one massive block of text, you're making your life significantly harder than it needs to be. I've monitored over 25,000 real phone calls across dozens of AI voice agents for real businesses, and the single biggest thing I've learned from all of that is this: the way you structure your prompt matters more than what you actually put in it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact system I use to build voice agents that actually work reliably at scale. The prompt architecture, the call flow design, the testing process, all of it. So let's start with what most people are doing, because I think it's important to understand why the default approach falls apart. Here's something most people don't realize about the language models powering these voice agents. They don't read your prompt the way that you do. You read top to bottom, giving equal weight to every sentence. The model doesn't. It prioritizes based on structure. Clear, separated instructions get followed. Instructions buried in the middle of a paragraph, surrounded by other instructions, get deprioritized or ignored entirely. The longer and messier the prompt, the worse this gets. It's not a bug, it's just how these models process text. So with that in mind, think about what most voice AI platforms actually give you to work with. If you log into Retell or Vapi or ElevenLabs agents and you look at the example prompts they provide, they're basically a wall of text. You are a helpful receptionist for Bob's Plumbing. Be polite. If someone asks how much a call out is, say £65. They're not production ready prompts, they're just examples. But understandably, you adopt these prompts and you keep adding to them over time. And look, that works, kind of, until you need to change something. Then three things tend to go wrong. First, debugging becomes guesswork. When the agent says the wrong thing on a call, you're reading through paragraphs trying to figure out which instruction conflicted with which other instruction. That's not prompt engineering, that's prompt archaeology. Second, the AI model gets completely lost, especially if you're running a smaller, faster model for low latency, which you should be with voice agents. And third, scaling is painful, if not impossible, because every time you want to add a new voice agent for your business or for more customers, that means editing a massive text block and hoping nothing breaks. There's no scaffold to build from. There's no template to start with. So here's where you need to shift your thinking. Stop treating your AI voice agent prompts as essays and start thinking of them as structured databases. Every voice agent prompt I build follows the same 5-section architecture. I call it the 5-section framework. Each section has a specific job and they work in a deliberate hierarchy. The agent processes them in order of priority. Persona first, then rules, then logic, then reference material. And that's the key point. When something goes wrong on a call, you know exactly which section to look at. You're not searching through a wall of text. You can locate the problem within your rules or your call flows or your reference data. The structure narrows the search immediately. So let me walk you through each one quickly, and then I'll go deeper on the 3 of those 5 that matter the most. Section 1 is mode settings. Think of it as the agent's passport, its identity, its objective, its tone and speaking style. This is the shortest section in every prompt, but it might be the most important. Before the agent knows how to handle a single call, it needs to know who it is and what it's trying to achieve. Section 2 is global rules, the guardrails that apply to every single call regardless of type. Things like conversation flow, the data it needs to capture, the caller filtering it needs to be doing, and even basic stuff like safety to help it avoid prompt engineering or trolls. I'll come back to this one properly in a minute because it's the section most people either skip or scatter randomly through their prompt, and that's a mistake. Section 3 is structured output. These are defined fields that the agent fills in during every call, and this is the one that changed everything for us, and I'll go deep into that later. Section 4 is call flows, step-by-step sequences for each type of call that you anticipate the voice agent will need to handle. These are essentially mini programs, not monoliths, and this is where the interesting logic lives, and it's where most people over-engineer. More on that shortly too. Section 5 is reference and context. We know that with large language models, context is king, and this is where you would include your business details, services, pricing, FAQs, objection handling. This is where you give the agent the facts it needs. A lot of people get this bit wrong, including me at first, because you probably don't need a massive external knowledge base for this. For the majority of small and medium business receptionists, everything the agent needs fits right in the prompt itself. Right, that's the prompt architecture. Now let me go deeper on the 3 sections that trip people up the most. Global rules are the instructions that apply to every call your voice agent handles. It doesn't matter if someone's booking a job, chasing an invoice, or asking for directions, these rules are always on. And this is the section most people either skip entirely or worse, scatter through their prompt in random places. This would mean when you need to change something, you're on another archaeological dig to find that rule. Here's what goes into the global rules section. First, conversation flow rules. Back in 2018, Google published research about consumer patience in what they then called the age of assistance. I mean, look where we are now. They predicted customers would become more demanding than ever and more impatient than ever before too. With my experience with AI receptionists, that prediction has absolutely come true. For a lot of callers, your voice agent will be their very first experience with AI answering a phone, so you have to set strict rules, such as 1 question per turn, then wait. Keep responses to 1 or 2 short sentences. Acknowledge what the caller said before moving on. These sound so obvious to a human, but if you don't state them, then the model will start monologuing. It will ask 3 questions at once. It will just sound unnatural. And on a voice call, that's death. Next is data capture policies. When do you ask for their name? How many times do you retry a misheard email address? Without these rules, the agent will just keep asking, sorry, can you spell that again? 6 times, and the caller will just get frustrated and hang up. And the third thing to put into your global rules is identity handling. What does the agent say when someone asks, are you a real person? Or are you an AI? Have a clear, honest answer. We always go with transparency. I'm a virtual receptionist, but I can answer your questions and get the ball rolling. Trying to pretend that it's a human always backfires. Always. So here's why separating this stuff out matters so much in practice. Say you're auditing some of your call recordings and you notice the agent keeps asking for the caller's phone number, even though it already has this from the incoming call data. Without structure, you'll be searching through your entire prompt trying to stop this. But with this approach, you know it's a data capture policy. You go straight to that subsection of your global rules section, you find the conflicting instruction, you fix it. And when you onboard a new client, your global rules barely change. Conversation flow, safety handling, identity responses, they're the same across most businesses. You write them once and you can reuse them. Only the client-specific bits need to change. The next section we're going to go in depth in is call flows. A call flow is a mini program for a specific type of call. Someone ringing to book a repair, that's one flow. Someone asking about pricing, another flow. Wanting to leave a message, that's a third flow. Each flow is a step-by-step sequence. Ask this, then ask that, then do this, then close the call. It's like a little script with enough flexibility for the agent to sound natural. So this bit took me a long time to learn, and I wish someone had told me this at the start. You need far fewer call flows than you think. And here's how we learn this the painful way so that you don't have to. Early on, we took on an estate agent with multiple branches, handling sales and lettings. And because we were saying yes to everything, because it was an early client and we wanted to impress, we tried to build a call flow for every possible scenario. Landlord with a specific request, flow. New property inquiry for sales, flow. Same for lettings, another flow. Mortgage advisor calling, flow. Viewing bookings for sales, viewing bookings for lettings, maintenance issues, chasing a sale that's in progress, appointment changes, cancellations, general inquiries about specific properties. We threw in the entire staff directory across branches. We inserted the entire website as a knowledge base. It was massively over-engineered before we'd even done a single test call. And what happened when that agent went live? Disaster. The agent would start going down one call flow, then realize halfway through that it had misread the caller's intent, switch to another flow and start the process all over again. Callers were being asked the same questions 2 or 3 times. People with the same first name across different branches caused confusion. The agent was constantly flipping between flows, trying to figure out which one to use. It was a mess. What we learned, painfully, was that most of these flows could be handled under a single general inquiry flow. Greet the caller, capture their details, understand their needs, book them in, or take a message. The specifics, the prices, the staff names, the branch details, those should be coming from the reference section, that's section number 5, not from multiplying flows. For most small to medium businesses, you need around 5 call flows. That's honestly it. There is one exception. When the agent needs to follow a strict sequence of API calls live on a call, you need precision. One of our heating engineer clients has a boiler maintenance booking flow that requires something like 30 API calls and over 80 individual steps. Check availability, book a slot, submit to a back end, find the engineers with the correct license, confirm to the caller. That's the one place where a structured text prompt like I'm talking about now just won't cut it. And you need to move to a node-based system. In Retell, that means you need a conversational flow agent, and in ElevenLabs, you would add a workflow to your agent. But that's the exception. For the vast majority of voice agents, keep it lean. Define the steps, define what information to collect at each point, and let the language model do what it's good at. having a natural conversation within those guardrails. My 80% 20% principle applies here. AI handles 80% of the work brilliantly, but that last 20%, the judgment, the nuance, the decisions about what actually matters for this specific business, that's human work for you to do. And mastering that balance is what separates voice agents that kind of work from voice agents that actually perform reliably at scale. Let's explore the structured data section now. And there's something here that, again, most people building voice agents just completely miss. The call is not the end of the process, it's just the beginning. After the call ends, that data from the call needs to go somewhere for your customers or for your own business. It needs to go into a CRM, into an email notification, into an automation that books a job or triggers a follow-up. And if your output is messy paragraphs of unstructured text, good luck passing that reliably with any automation tool and further AI steps. It's just not going to happen. This is where structured output comes in, and it's the section in the prompt that really changed everything for us. The idea is really simple. You define a set of fields in the prompt that the agent fills in during every call. The caller's name, the phone number, the reason for the call, the contact preference, whether a booking was made, whether a message was sent. Each field gets defined by the agent and passed cleanly onwards at the end of the call. When you do this, it changes a couple of things. First, the agent knows what it's collecting for. It's not just having a conversation, it's filling in a form in the background. This list of data to capture makes the agent noticeably better at capturing the right information because it knows exactly what fields it needs to complete. Secondly, your downstream automations become much more reliable. You get clean, structured data out of every call, CRM integrations that work every time, SMS and WhatsApp notifications that contain the right info, follow-up workflows that trigger correctly. As a good example here, one of our agents captures a field called marketing source, and that's where the caller heard about the business. It's one extra question. Before I book you in, where did you hear about us? But because it's a defined output, it gets captured consistently. The business owner can see exactly which marketing channels are driving real phone calls. That's data you simply can't get from a wall of text prompts that just says be helpful or always remember to ask where the customer came from. Unless the prompt is structured correctly, the AI will just get lost and forget to do things and ask those questions. And it's that data where the real business value lives. Not in the call itself, but in what happens after it. The businesses getting the most from voice AI are the ones whose entire post-call workflow runs on clean, structured data sent to deterministic automation infrastructure that doesn't need to do any guesswork. Most people obsess over conversational quality and completely forget about data quality. Flip that. Okay, so you've got your architecture, the 5 sections, each with a job, and you know how to structure your call flows, you know why structured output changes the game downstream, but there's still one more thing I want to leave you with. Building a voice agent is one skill. Operating and improving them at scale based on real data from real calls is a completely different discipline. The iteration cycle should look like this. Schedule time to use your human ears to listen to actual calls your voice agents have handled. Spot patterns in where things go wrong. Go to the specific section in your prompt that owns that behavior and address it. Perform some tests and validate the fix. This eliminates guesswork and blind A/B testing. And this is the path to systematic improvement based on real conversations. And because your prompt is broken into sections, you can make a change in one place without worrying about what it breaks somewhere else. The modularity is the whole point. When you scale across multiple clients, the structure pays off even more. Your core behaviors, your conversation flow rules, your safety handling, your identity responses, those are the same for every agent. You write them once, you maintain them centrally. Change something once, it changes for all. Only the client-specific bits, the reference data, the specific call flows need building from scratch. And that's the difference between building one agent and running a system. So that's the full 5-section framework. If you want to see an in-depth guide on how to actually build these, hit this video here. It's a full guide to building best-in-class voice agents inside one of the best tools currently available, Retell. I'll see you there.